little bit of present day technology. We always don't get a lot of time with you, but we appreciate when you come on. Where does Bill Gates sit on quantum computing? Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang talking about maybe it's a 15, 20, 30-year thing when it becomes really big. What's your view on it?
There is the possibility that he could be wrong. Uh, that is, there is the possibility in the next 3 to 5 years that one of these techniques would get enough true logical qubits to solve some very tough problems. And Microsoft is a competitor in that space, and I, regularly review that work, and I'm quite impressed with it. But Jensen's correct; it could take longer. This is both in terms of how you build a quantum computer and what software you write that can solve problems that other computers couldn't write. There's some hard work to be done. And Microsoft's been in this field a long time. Google, many, many, many players. But there are still some very tough problems, particularly the reliability that these qubits kind of collapse anyway. So I'm thrilled that Microsoft is making those investments, but there's a great deal of uncertainty there. In the meantime, the AI stuff, that's improving at a very, very rapid rate. And that, in a sense, it's more predictable that over the same 3 to 5 years, that will get extremely powerful.
What do you think about the pace of innovation at a company like Nvidia? I mean, they've really consolidated seemingly their position in chips. Of course, you have AMD doing fine work too, Broadcom, Qualcomm, but they seem to really be out in front. I imagine you have some thought on that, given how in front Microsoft was making software.
Well, if you say, what are the 7 most valuable companies in the world, put aside Aramco, there are all these tech companies, and the newest arrival to that list is Nvidia. And the fact that Jensen doesn't even make his own chips, that everybody has TSMC available, is all the more credit to him that at the design level, the silicon, the buses, the interconnects, the way they've done things is pretty fantastic. Now, I would say, I wouldn't want to be Jensen necessarily because, wow, other people are working on the same things. But, so far, he has stayed way ahead. And, Microsoft is an incredible customer, always, wanting to get as many of his chips as they possibly can, while at the same time, like other big tech companies working on their own AI chips. So I think it's pretty hard to predict, but right now, it's unbelievable how well he's done.
And we're going in a little bit into opening bit overtime here. On the chips, a lot of big tech players are starting to explore making their own chips. Of course, you have Google dropping Willow, Amazon looking to make its own chips. Is that where do you think big tech will ultimately end up? They want to control more of their own destiny?
Well, that trend has been both on the cloud server side and even on the client side. Apple has been at the forefront of that the magic of their products often involves the work they do for them all client side at the chip level. Microsoft started doing its chips for Xbox, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. And now if you go into our cloud data centers, we have a mix of Intel, AMD, off-the-shelf ARM, but also custom ARM stuff that some we do ourselves, some we work with Qualcomm on. And so, yes, if you want to optimize an entire system, often being able to work at that chip level and, get rid of the margin at that level, that's the way you can build the best system. So it's, that's a big challenge for people in the chip design business.
Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg just revealed insane information about Q-Day and how Nvidia is speeding to that date before anyone else. Q-Day here obviously refers to the day quantum computing actually becomes viable and cracks all protection currently existing on every software ever. How can Nvidia reach that day so quickly? Who will benefit the most because of that? So many questions and so many answers to give. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
What's Meta doing? Again, we talked about it a moment ago, but I am looking at this post from Mark Zuckerberg that just hit on Facebook. Have you guys seen
Take one?
Defining year, he calls it, for AI. That's 2025. He expects Meta will be the leading assistant serving more than 1 billion people. Llama 4, of course, is their open source LLM, will become the leading state-of-the-art model.
Right.
Some CapEx numbers in there, too.
To power this, guys, listen, Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan. We're going to bring online 1 gigawatt of compute in 25. We'll end the year with more than 1.3 million GPUs.
Wow. So
and we're planning to invest. And again, Jim, I think these may be in line with the numbers, so I don't want to say
Tell me, I'll tell you. I know the numbers.
65 billion in CapEx this year. 60 to 65 billion. That's a number they've been on.
That's,
right?
Well, remember, he has to have. Did he say that Meta AI is going to be number one? Because it isn't. Remember when he said Meta AI was going to be number one?
Yep.
It isn't. And he said it was going to be by last. This guy's look. I think this is
interesting that he chose
that it's going down because I think it's not
that he's put this out.
It didn't have any pizzazz.
Yep. Massive effort over the coming years will drive our core products and business, unlock historic innovation, extend American technology leadership, says Mr. Zuckerberg.
But again, it stock's trading down on what? What phrase in that thing is negative? What phrase?
Well, I don't know. Maybe to the 60 to 65 billion in capex this year. Maybe that is just reiterating what people already anticipated. I know. I don't know.
Look, Microsoft's doing 80. I mean,
by the way, I would point out
it's good for Nvidia.
What I'm aware of in the financing markets and the way that some of these data center projects are structured, you're actually bringing in a good deal of private equity money. A lot of it in sort of debt or other kinds of financing. But it has the effect of lessening the capex expenditure on paper from a Meta. They are the tenant. Right. They will pay interest in the private credit markets by borrowing there to a certain extent to help as well.
But we should be.
I'm saying that the numbers are even larger.
But that means we should be looking at free cash flow. That's apples to apples.
Right.
And we have to find out free cash flow Meta.
That's a good point.
Okay?
That's a good point.
Because it can't be triggered by a capitalization. We have to get that.
But again, when you just think about Meta just talking about creating data centers that are so large they will cover a significant part of Manhattan. I'm not sure what he talks about in significant.
Well,
you get a sense here. By the way, back to our other theme that we'll endlessly talk about, you get a sense into the challenges for power and things of that nature.
Well, we have to spend so much time on power because we are beginning to get, when I've been dealing with these natural gas companies, they're being greenlit and they're not being talked about, and they're starting to realize why is everything being nuclear? Because nuclear is 7 to 8 years, okay? 7 to 8 years. And if you go over the GE Vernova quarter, that's why Vernova, someone downgraded GE Vernova today. That guy doesn't know what he's doing. The GE Vernova they've got all bases covered, but it's natural gas.
But
it's natural gas.
I mean, Parish Data Center in Louisiana is one of the biggest ones for Meta. And again, I'm telling you, the way that they structure this, it's not all their capex, or at least doesn't go down as all of theirs, because in some of it is private credit, it's borrowing from. They're using the Apollos of the world, for example, to provide it. Let's see.
That's the Entergy project.
Right. They're the power provider.
Huge.
For months, industry experts have been analyzing data, projecting trends, and hypothesizing about Nvidia's tech leap akin to the Netflix effect on Blockbuster, only this time, not in the aisles of video rental, but on a much grander and more complex stage. Quantum computing converging with AI technology. The punchline could make or break fortunes. But before going on with the video, are you into cryptocurrency? If so, check out our second channel, Investocracy Crypto. We bring you breaking news, expert analysis, and the latest trends in the fast-moving world of digital assets. Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just curious about the future of finance, we've got something for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Investocracy Crypto now. Don't miss out and stay ahead of the game. Now, let's get back to the video.
Just huge.
The numbers are staggering.
Yeah, and this capex guidance will be hot relative to the street, just about 50 billion. I think.
Okay, that's the number.
So that's what they're going to say.
Jim.
That's what they say it's too expensive.
It's higher. Yeah.
I tell you, if you don't spend, people don't go back over what Jensen said. For every dollar you spend, you get $4 in return. So to me, Microsoft is the leader in this, and I know that Zuckerberg is behind. Because Zuckerberg, and by the way, Meta AI, I don't know if you guys are using it.
I don't use
really?
it. I use chat. I don't use
Really?
Meta.
It's wild card weekend, that thing.
And I got to start using Gemini a little bit.
That does not make the playoffs. Meta AI is not in the playoffs.
We'll talk more about return on some of these investments. Cover the Economist is all about how the Chinese are doing this for a lot less money. But Julia Borston's watching these particular Meta numbers. Morning, Julia.
Good morning, Carl. Yeah, let's just put these CapEx numbers in context here. 60 to 65 billion on CapEx this year, as Meta says that they were going to be growing their AI teams significantly, also saying they'll have the capital to continue investing in the years ahead. He is saying this is a massive ramp up in spending on AI. To put this in context, it's up from $38 billion in CapEx in 2024, and analysts have been looking for 51 to 53 billion in CapEx for this year. So that's meaningfully ahead of that. Zuckerberg also talking about expectations for that Meta AI assistant tool to significantly grow in terms of its reach. So the last number they reported for Meta AI was 500 million at the end of the third quarter. That was at the end of October. Now they're saying they expect to hit 1 billion users of Meta AI this year, so a doubling this year. And just talking more about the importance of AI. Remember, this is a company that pivoted from focusing on ads and social media to the metaverse, and now it's really about AI driving everything going forward.
Meta sometimes does nothing but pivot, Julia.
Well, they are good.
View?
And he's a competitive guy, and the more you spend, still the better. I know there's still this camp out there which says, look, it's got to slow down. And there are a lot of people who feel
I'm telling you, it's
down.
understated, too. I'm telling you, because of the financing arrangements as well. The
I would
numbers
like
are
that.
even
No,
higher.
but you're talking about, are you talking about Blackstone? You're talking about Blue Owl? Who are you talking
Yeah,
about?
all of them are providing credit to the building of these data centers.
Well, then
and
why?
Therefore, Meta, pays, or whomever will pay interest,
why
as
is
opposed to just showing even more CapEx,
Well, why is
which
Musk
they
saying
could,
that? Why
because
is
they have
Musk
the
saying that
wherewithal
on the
to do
money?
it.
Why is Musk saying that on the money?
That's a different situation entirely that you're talking about.
No, I'm just saying that
You're talking. Musk was saying that on the money about the Stargate thing. He's not talking about this.
No. I'm just saying that there are people who think that it's that new entity that to get in this game. There's only a couple companies in this game.
There's an enormous amount of capital that wants to help finance a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
If it can get
The
a return.
return's good.
And your
We should have asked
end
Larry to think
user, the
about
biggest
that.
companies in the world, nobody's questioning their ability to pay you back.
Well,
love the
100
story.
billion, the first 100 billion is more than double the cash on hand for SoftBank and Oracle.
Maybe he's got
Got to
David,
sell
what's
arm.
talking about? Yes, sell arm.
A recent interview highlights Mark Zuckerberg stating how AI could assume coders' roles by 2025, but ironically leaving humans free to brainstorm higher-level solutions. It's a scenario of opportunity wrapped in a dilemma. The narrative takes an even more intriguing turn with Q-Day looming, where Nvidia envisions an alliance of AI and quantum computing forming a juggernaut, with an investment ceiling reminiscent of Nvidia's own meteoric rise in 2016. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Christina Partsinevelos joins us now. I'm looking at a lot of these names, Broadcom, Micron. You can go on and talk about more broadly, too. But at some point, this was going to become a buy, whether this is a lasting one or not, who knows?
Yeah, especially when you talk about valuations, Nvidia trading, well, yesterday it was at 24 times when you had it, just a few weeks ago at 29 times. So some say it's a big bargain. But to your point, the SMH is finally breaking its losing streak. It's heading up, and after down 2 days, last 2 days, but I don't want you to get too excited yet, as it's still looking at its fourth weekly drop in a row, to your point. So how long is this going to last? The SMH does track NVIDIA more closely than the SOX does. We often talk about both as chip barometers, and so that's why you'll usually see the SMH and NVIDIA move in tandem, or the SMH move higher when NVIDIA is higher. And speaking of NVIDIA, to your point, there was a story I want to focus on. Reuters today putting out that TSMC pitched NVIDIA, AMD, and Broadcom on teaming up with Intel for a foundry joint venture. This isn't exactly breaking news, so let me explain. These rumors have just been going on since mid-February. Even DigiTimes out of Taiwan was talking about Taiwan Semiconductor actually joining forces with some U.S. chip designer. The interesting part is that today's report from Reuters mentioned this pitch happened before TSMC announced that massive $100 billion U.S. investment on March 3rd. You're seeing a headline on your screen right now. But so realistically, this deal might be a little less likely now that TSMC is already committing so much money to the United States and their expansion. Still, word is that talks haven't completely died yet, and that's why you're seeing so many of these names higher today. And of course, just people snapping up the chips because they've been lower on valuations and earnings have been strong, Scott.
As we wrap up, the scenario invites an enticing question. Will you be among the pioneers or mere spectators in this tech revolution? Could Q-Day spark unprecedented growth in Nvidia? Nvidia stands at the precipice of considerable shifts, with predictions pointing to considerable growth. But what do you think? Share your thoughts. Finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.